Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Amy, or Amylouise. If you are new here, welcome. If you are returning, welcome back. I'm going to show you my matte but healthy looking skin routine. I have done my skin prep and I've gone in with moisturiser and all that jazz that I don't feel has that much. Skin is so important. This is where skin is so important. You should look after it no matter what. Get a really good skincare routine, get a really good skin prep routine. It's going to make your makeup look its best. If your skin is looking amazing, your makeup's going to look amazing. But if you don't have amazing skin like me, I have had acne since I was 10 years old. I have a lot of scarring. I still get active breakouts now. I don't have the most amazing flawless skin, but I can fake it and make it look amazing. So I'm not gonna focus on the skin prep and stuff underneath your makeup to make it look super healthy and, you know, everything. But it is important, but I can kind of cheat my way into that. Like I've got a breakout here. I've got a lot of scarring, like all this here is scarring. That's a scar now, fun. That was a breakout, it's going. But all this is not active, it is just scarring. So I'm going to show you how I get the matte full coverage but still healthy looking skin that I'm kind of known for, and it's really not as hard as people think. So make sure you moisturize. I'm going to go in with a primer. This is my Huda Beauty water jelly primer. If you think that just because you have acne prone skin you need to go in with a really pore filling thick primer, you are wrong. Everyone's skin is different. Some people, yeah, you can only go in with like these thick pore filling primers. Other people like me, I need a hydrating primer. I'm going to go in with my NARS Soft Matte Complete Foundation and I'm going to put it on a palette. Now, to get the best coverage out of your foundation, you're going to need a flat top kabuki brush like this. This is the Morphe Y6. They have the same brush with different handles. I believe it's a Y6. Not in that Y6, this is the Y6 M6. Which is the same brush, it's just a different handle. This is one of the limited edition ones. Sigma have one which I love. Where is it? So this one, and again it is a flat top kabuki. If you can't get Morphe or Sigma or anything like that, I believe Real Techniques have one. Places like Primark will have one. Maybe not as amazing as this. This is my favourite of all time. But a flat top kabuki, any flat top kabuki will work, and it will work better than a sponge. If you're using a sponge and wanting full cover glam, you're gonna struggle. A brush is far more easy. If you don't, then you can also go in with something like this. This is the Real Techniques 302. It is a round domed, this is actually a blush brush, but it's quite dense, and that is what you want. You want it to be dense. I do like that a lot for foundation. I'm going to take my brush and my foundation on my palette. I'm going to dip in and I'm going to work that foundation into my brush so you can see like this. Now I'm not expecting to pick all that up. That can go down to the side. That's not wasted. That will get used. And I'm going to tap and swipe. So you can see I'm going to tap the product. And this is just to get it kind of around my face so that I don't have all the foundation on one area. And then I'm going to tap and swipe. So really small, almost like buffing motions. I'm just tap and swipe really quick, and I'm just buffing this in just like that all over my face. And you can see the coverage that I'm getting with this brush. Absolutely love it. And I'm just going to do this over my entire face. Now, I don't go directly under my eyes. I don't want too much product under my eyes. If you're going with your skincare, then your foundation, then your concealer, then your powder, it gets very thick and heavy and it starts to drag down the eye area. That skin is a lot thinner than, like, say, your cheek or your forehead or your chin. It is a lot thinner skin. That way, although it doesn't seem much to you, on that thin, like, tissue paper skin, it's gonna drag it down, it's gonna make it crease, and it can make you look older. So I like to leave like a gap below my eyes. I can put my concealer there, it's fine. I'm then gonna go back in here. I'm gonna pick up more of my product. And the reason you want to buff it into your brush is so that it's not sat on the top of your brush, and then you can work it into your skin and get that almost flawless finish. It is so beautiful when you work that foundation into your skin. You don't want it to just sit on top. So I'm just going to quickly do my forehead, and in the exact same way. If you struggle getting around your eyebrows, take a fluffy brush, something like this, or like this, obviously not pink, but a fluffy brush, and you can take your foundation on that and go around your eyebrows rather than using a big brush. Now I've got this everywhere, I'm just going to pick up whatever's on here just so that it's not wasted. You can see that's pretty much gone. And then I'm going to take my brush and I'm just going to tap up and down. I'm not swiping, I'm just tapping over. And this is going to really make sure that it is all wet into my skin. Okay, so that is looking so much better already. It is matte, which I love, but I don't want it to be too matte. So we're gonna fix that. Don't worry, it's gonna look really nice, healthy, glowy, not too matte, not too glowy. I have oily combination skin. I don't want it to be like a disco ball. I want it that perfect kind of like in between ground. From here, I'm going to go into my Huda Beauty Tantor. This is in the shade Light. I'm going to take a small round brush. This is Real Techniques. I don't know, I think this is called a buffing brush from Real Techniques. And I'm going to tap in once, and that is enough. And I'm just going to start to tap that in to my contour area. I don't want to go wild with this, and I'm just tapping like up and down, kind of like a jackhammer, and I'm just buffing this in. I don't want it to be super precise. I'm not bringing it all the way down here, I'm not bringing it all the way up here, but I'm just kind of keeping it right here, and as I'm bouncing it up and down, it is going to blend that out. And I'm not going to bring it all the way in. Again, this is contour. I'm going to take a little bit more, and I'm going to do the same on the corners of my hairline. And I'm just bouncing. With my forehead, I like to go like side to side. And then I'm going to take a little bit on my chin too. That double chin, which I hate. Even when I was like a size 6, I had this itch. It wasn't as bad as what it is now, but it's not fun. I like to concentrate my contour a little bit on my chin just here, just to kind of like almost give me a bum chin. Like, I know not a lot of people like that look, but I do. Like, not severe, but I like it. I'm then going to use the same product with iMovie E62, and I'm just going to pop a little bit into the lid. You can see I do this a lot. I'm going to work this into my brush and use this just to give my nose a little bit of dimension. You can contour your nose however you want. This is how I'm doing it today. I can contour my nose in so many different ways. Okay, from here we're going to go into a liquid blush or a cream blush. I'm going to go in with my Mitchell. I'm obsessed with these at the minute. By the way, if you want to see how I did my eyes, there will be a video. I think it's the one before this. This is in Peach Sugar, and I'm going to use that Real Techniques 302 blush brush for this. I like to use cream blushes as well as powder blushes. I like to use cream products and then layer the powders on top, just so that you're not using as much powder. You're using this as a base and then your powder just to like bring that colour up a little bit more. It's going to give your skin more dewiness, lifelike quality that powders just don't give. So I'm going to pop 2 dots either side, and that will be more than enough. With this you want to work fast, so I'm going to take my brush and I'm just going to tap and then swirl this in. Blush placement varies for each person, so where you do need to figure that out yourself kind of thing, depending on your face shape. If you've got questions on blush placement, you can ask me. Tell me what face shape you are and I can let you know, or message me on Instagram. If you send me a selfie, I can tell you blush placement for your individual face. And then I'm going to go in with my concealer, and now this is where I feel like your face changes the most. This is what makes or breaks your makeup routine, and I do not do my concealer the way a lot of people do. I'm not an Instagram kind of triangle cover your face in concealer kind of girl. It's just not my deal. I'm going in with my Tarte Shape Tape. All I'm going to do is I'm going to put some there, use it to make sure that my eyeshadow is clean, and I'm going to put a little bit there and a little bit on my chin. I'm not going on my nose, I'm not doing these massive triangles, I'm not going wild. I'm going to take a little fluffy brush. This I think is an eyeshadow brush. This is the Real Techniques 305 brush. This is what I like to use, and I will also use my foundation brush. So I'm going to take my foundation brush, I'm going to go over my chin and just stipple that in. Same for my forehead. And this really is not a lot of concealer. I didn't dip in multiple times. I'm just going to stipple that in the centre of my forehead. I used to do this like rainbow, but recently I've just been doing this and I've been liking this more. Any excess I will take down the bridge of my nose really lightly, and then I'm going to take my fluffy brush. If you don't have this, just take a fluffy eyeshadow brush. Just because it's called an eyeshadow brush doesn't mean you can only use it on your eyes. Just because it's a lip brush doesn't mean you only use it on your lips. Can use it for whatever you need it for. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to take the outer section Now, if I wasn't filming, I wouldn't have done all of this at the same time. I would have done a section and then blended it out and then done the next section. So please bear that in mind. I'm going to tap this in here. And then I'm going to take it across the center point of my lid, and you can see that this is still a lot of concealer. I'm then going to take it and flick it downwards. So from here, flick it outwards, and this is going to blend that concealer. And then you can just buff and blend. I'm going to take it down the side of my nose. And you can just blend and just flick into that liquid blush. And because you're flicking it like this, you're going to get a blend between your blush and your concealer. Because you're using so much less concealer, if you've got drier skin, you may not even need to set your under eyes with a powder. I do, but some days I don't, and I just leave it as is. If my skin is feeling drier, if it's in the winter, sometimes I just don't set it, and it's fine. If you feel like you're getting any creases, you can just tap on over before you set them. I'm then using my Huda Beauty Sugar Cookie powder. Get some in that lid. And a Morphe, I don't know what sponge this is, but it's this one. I'm dipping into my powder, and then I'm going to roll the sponge in the lid and work that powder into the lid a little bit. And then pop this under my eyes. So each time I roll and work that powder into the sponge so that it's not too much. And then on my chin too. And my forehead, because I have oily combo skin, I do need to do the centre of my forehead. I don't do the full area. I'm then going to take a really big fluffy brush. I'm going to tap once into the powder and then swirl the lid. And you'll see I have quite a bit in the lid because I've tapped off as well. And I'm going to dust over the rest of my face.
I'm not leaving excess powder on my skin for too long. I pretty much put it on and then dust it straight off.
Now I know you're looking at me and you're like, that is not looking glowy, it's not looking skin-like. This is full cover skin-like. You don't have to have natural looking skin-like makeup. You can have full coverage skin-like makeup, and that just means working with full coverage products but making them look not so cakey and like a mannequin.
So I really like to take my time with a big fluffy brush, making sure that I've dusted that powder everywhere and dusted it off.
I then like to take a angled brush and I like to sweep under my eyes just to make sure that all that excess powder is gone. I find an angle brush is the easiest way. There's no product on this. I'm just gonna dust over my face everywhere with this too, just to make sure that all that powder is worked in, and if there's excess, it's kicked off. Okay, to bring a little bit of life back, I'm not using a setting spray, I'm using the Garnier Skin Active Rose Soothing Glow Mist. It's Hydrate, Refresh, Soothe for dry and sensitive skin. I do not have dry or, well, all sensitive skin really, but I like this to bring a little bit of life back into my face. You have powder on there. I'm gonna add more powder with my bronzer and my blush and my highlight, but I want it to have more skin finish to it, so I'm just gonna give it a shake. Pop a bit of that on. You can see while I'm doing this, my skin already looks a lot less powdery and mannequin like. It's still full coverage. I have pigment to my skin, like with my contour and my blush. It is not like fully matte and just, I'm not looking like a doll. From here, this is not something I do in all my videos when I've done base, just because it is a different technique to what I'm doing now. I'm going to go in with a liquid highlight. You can use whatever you want. This one is the L'Oreal True Matte Highlight in Icy Glow. I'm going to take this on the back of my hand. I like to use a pink or a gold tone liquid highlight, and I'm going to take it on the back of my hand. I'm going to take it on one finger and then keep the one next to it completely bare. And I'm going to place this just on the high points of my cheeks. So I'm going to tap with one finger with the product, and then I'm going to swap to my bare finger and tap it out with that, just so that I don't have too much product there. And then I'm going to do the same on my chin and my forehead. You can see that glow, but it's not a stripe of highlight. It's not like boom, I'm not shining to the gods. It is still just that dewiness from within. If you've got any pigmentation coming through, my hair is bugging me. If you've got any pigmentation coming through, it's not the end of the world. You can camouflage it with other products. Now, generally, my acne scarring is a red tone or a purple tone. I can camouflage pigmentation here with bronzer and blush. You want a warm tone bronzer. You do not want a contour shade. This is the difference between bronzer and contour. Bronzer is warm, contour is cold. Bronzer has a warmer undertone, and so because of the pigmentation of acne scarring usually being pink, I've got an itch. Ooh. You can use your bronzer with a warm undertone and it can camouflage it, because it's bringing the skin around it to that same level. So your acne scarring is really pink, and then your bronzer is like warm, so it's up here, but your skin isn't. So you're gonna use the bronzer to bring it up to kind of mesh it together. Does that make sense? It's almost like camouflage. I call this camouflaging. I'm really lightly, barely using any product. I'm just gonna dust a little bit of bronzer on my cheeks, and I like to do my liquid highlight before this. Now, my skin does not feel powdery and it doesn't feel wet, so I can go in with my liquids, with my liquid highlight, and it's not gonna sit funny with the powders, but I can also put my powders on and it's not gonna bunch up or act weird because of a wet base. So I'm just gonna really lightly add bronzer, and I'm gonna add it to my forehead too. And this is going to bring any pigmentation here, because a lot of people, their acne is on their cheeks, will have acne peeking through in these areas. This is why you don't need a full coverage foundation. If you know how to camouflage, you can get away with just using bronzer and blush to camouflage it in.
I'm going to take a smaller brush and I'm just going to do down at the sides of my nose and on the top of my nose.
You could also use a cream bronzer. I didn't today just because I forgot. I'm going to be honest, I forgot. I would have normally, but here we are. And that would have just gone on after my contour before the liquid blush. I'm then going to use a coral blush. This is from Beauty Bay and it's literally called Coral. I like this tone of blush because, again, it's bringing my skin up to that level where my acne scarring is, and it's going to camouflage it if it does peek through the day. So I'm just going to pop this on really lightly. I'm not going wild. And because I've used the liquid blush from Mitchell, I've already got pigmentation in my face. I don't need to go crazy. You can just go in with a little bit and just bring that up. I also take it over my nose just because I like it. And now here we go with the glowiness. I'm going to go in with my Surf highlighter palette. You can use whatever you want. I'm using this just because I feel like this is something that everyone can get their hands on. And you want a small brush. You don't want a really big brush. You want something like this. This is the Morphe M501. It's good for precision. It's going to blend it out beautifully, but it's not going to cover up your full face. So you want something like this. Other highlight brushes I have is this by Morphe. Again, this is the E48, and you can see the difference. This takes up so much of your cheek. This takes up a lot less, and like, look at the difference. Another one I have is this one. Again, too big. Definitely too big. Like, look at that. That takes up half of my face. I'm not a fan of fan brushes. Anyway, I'm going to go in with this shade right here. There's no names on this. And then I might mix in a little bit of this one too. So I'm going to tap the end of my brush in, tap off. And you want the high points of your face. So if you go in the front of the mirror and kind of move your face around and pay attention to where the sun's hitting, or stand in your garden and just have a look. So mine hits right here. It doesn't come all the way down. It hits right here. So I'm just gonna, in circular motions, lightly. I'm not going in crazy. I'm just gonna lightly, like that. And then I'm going to take the side of my brush and just dust on over to disperse it just a little bit more. Like, look at that blush. Like. So I'm going to do the same again. Just tap into the end. Oh my god. And slight circular motions just where I want the highest point of reflection, and then take the edge to blend out. I'm going to get the end of my nose and the bridge of my nose. My chin, I'm not using any extra product, so that's all on the end. And then I'm going to take the edge, like the side of the brush, and do a little blend out. And then when I want super glowy, I'll go in the centre of my forehead. If it's a regular day, I'll go on the arches of my brow. So instead of using the end of my brush like straight in, I'm just going to take it on like a 45-degree angle and just kind of dust in like a diamond shape. So small here, get bigger and bigger and bigger, and then smaller to the hairline. And so that way it's not super like boom, it's kind of more of a sheen. I'm then going to go in with this one just because I want a little bit more. Again, tapping into the end, and I'm just going to tap like this. And I'm only doing this on my cheeks. So tap, 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 tap. And you can see it's kicked it up, but it's only in the centre. It's not the full highlight area. And then I'll put a little bit on the bridge of my nose. And that is as much highlight as you're gonna need. Okay, from here, you want to set your face. You don't want something super glowy. I don't really like those glittery setting sprays for my face. I feel like you just end up looking like a disco ball. I'm gonna go in with a mattifying setting spray. This is the Huda Beauty, and I'm going to spray my face. I'm gonna let this settle in. Now, once this is starting to dry down, I can touch my face. It's not wet, my chin feels a little bit wet. I'm gonna take the Morphe E48 brush. This is a bigger domed, it's kind of dense, it's kind of fluffy highlighter brush. No extra product, and I'm gonna take this and I'm just gonna sweep over the areas that I highlighted. This is going to pick up any product that's not wet into my skin already and disperse it, so that it gives like the surrounding area just that extra glow without taking it all over your face. So I just like to kind of do like S motions or figure 8 motions just over those areas. And again, it just disperses that product in a way that just looks beautiful. You still have that blinding highlight, but it gives the surrounding area a little bit of a glow too, and that gives you that really healthy glowing look. You can see I haven't put highlight here, but by blending with this, it's given this area just a bit of a sheen without being like my face is covered in highlight. And that is how I do my full coverage matte base that ends up looking glowy. It's not super glowy, it's not super matte, it's that perfect in between. And when I move around, when I move my face, my skin doesn't look plastic or fake or caked in makeup. It looks like I have really good skin underneath this. Like, yeah, I've got this little friend which in certain lights you can still see, but that's because it's raised, but the rest is completely covered. I don't look greasy, I don't look oily, I don't look like I've dumped my head in a bag of flour. It just looks lifelike and beautiful. If you enjoyed this, thank you. Please give the video a thumbs up, I really do appreciate it. And if you want to see more, make sure to subscribe. Thank you, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.